Hello my loves, welcome back to the channel. So we're making this beautiful dress here on your screen and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to be making it with a little bit modifications to mine. I don't want to copy exactly the style on the model. Right, so I'll be using about 2.5 yards of fabric. Then I'll be using one of these lace fabrics, either the yellow or the red one. So which one should I use? Which one should I use? All right, so we'll see which one won at the end of the day. Maybe right at the middle of the tutorial. So we'll see which one won. Well, for me, I'm still contemplating yellow or red. All right, so here is the fabric. I'm going to fold into four, right? So that I'll cut the back and the front at the same time. Okay, now you can also decide to cut the back and the front separately, add your zip allowance to the back, but I don't want to add zip allowance to this. It's just a simple dress, so I'll just open up the back a little bit and add my button and loop. I think that's okay. So I'm folding into four. You can say I folded the first time, and this is the second fold. Now the wideness or the width of your fold is your hip measurement divided by 4 plus at least 2 or 3 inches. You get, so that's what I have folded, right? I'll use the excess for some other things. Right, so I'll start by marking out the grain line on the fabric and use that point as my starting point. Afterwards, I would mark the length of the dress. For me, it is 40 inches. Then I'll add 2 inches hemming allowance to it, and that would be 42. So work with the length you want. What you should be mindful of is that this dress should be above the knee, okay, not below the knee, above the knee, so that it would ease movement. So that's why I'm marking it 40 inches. 40 inches is directly above my knee. Now I'm also going to mark the waist to the hip length, which is 9 inches for me. Then I'll make out these lines into a straight line. Remember I said my waist to hip measurement is 9. You can use 8 for yours. Now from the top, I'm going to mark my shoulder, half of the shoulder, which is 8.5. Then I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, like so. Then from there, I'll mark 8 inches for the armhole. You can see I'll mark 8 inches for the armhole. Then for the neckline, I'm using a neck width of 3 inches, neck depth of 3.5 inches. Okay, so I'll connect like so. Then for the neck, for the back neck depth, I'm marking 1 inch. I'll just connect like so. Then slant the neckline to my shoulder slope. Okay, so on the 8 inches line, I'm going to mark my bust measurement. I'll mark, sorry, half of the shoulder line. Okay, and extend that into a straight line first. Okay, then afterwards, I'm now going to incorporate my body measurement. So I'm going to mark the bust divided by 4 plus 2 inches seam allowance. Alright, so my bust is 45. I'll divide that by 4 and add 2 inches seam allowance to that. Right, so the 2 inches seam allowance I added is actually 1 inch for ease. Right, then 1 inch for seam allowance, because it's not a fitted dress, so you don't want it to be stuck on your body. It's actually a free dress, so 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for my seam allowance. Now on the waistline, I'm going to mark my waist divided by 4 plus 2 inches. Remember, it is 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So if you want your seam allowance to be bigger, you can now add 3 inches. That's why I said you should fold your fabric by using your hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2 to 3 inches. Now that is dependent on you. So if you want your seam allowance to be 2 inches, it means you're going to be adding 3 inches, so that 1 inch will be for ease and 2 inches will be for seam allowance. Okay, in case you're making for clients that would always want you to put so much allowance in case they add weight. All right, but this is mine. This outfit is for me, so I just feel like it's going to help me not to add so much weight because that allowance can mess up your mind that you just say, okay, I have allowance. So on the hip, I'll mark the hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches, and whatever I have on the hip, I'll mark the same thing on the length of the dress. All right, so I'll then measure half of my armhole. Okay, I'll divide the armhole line into 2. Then at the half of the armhole, I'll step inward by ½ inch, then draft the armhole. You can see that. Okay, so I'll draft my armhole, and this is for the back armhole. All right, the back armhole doesn't need to be extended inwards. So I'll start by cutting out the back neckline like so. Then at the shoulder area, I'll leave 1/2 inch for my shoulder join. Okay, for the shoulder joining. Then I'll start cutting from the lower part as well. So this procedure or this method is easier except to cut the front and the back at the same time. And you can always use a zipper allowance for the back if you want to. Alright, so I'll just cut from the length to the waist and to the bust area. So guys, this is Let's Sew with Noni. If you're new here, I say a very big welcome to you. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for finding me worthy of your data. You know data is expensive. So thank you so much for finding me worthy to spend your data on. Data, whatever you call it. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. It is not easy. God bless you. Thank you. And to my returning subscribers that are always finding me worthy of using their data on. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for returning. I hope you find this video interesting. Now, what I'm doing is I've taken out the back piece. So this is the front. I've trimmed off the armhole and the neckline. All right, so we'll now start making some modifications to the front part. Now, you know that the work on this dress is just on the front panel. So at the shoulder area, I'm going to come inward by 1.5 inches. Then I'm going to slant it towards the half length. Like so. Okay, so remember, go inwards by 1.5 inches from the shoulder area and slant it to your half length. Right, so you can actually cut this out, but I need to add some allowance of 1/2 inch to this point. Okay, because by the time I trim this off, I'm still going to cut it on the lace and join it. Right, so I'll go ahead and add 1/2 inch seam allowance. Like so. So this will be my seam allowance to join to the lace. You can see. So when you are done, you can actually now cut this out. Like so. So that way you don't have a shortage. Your allowances will be intact. Your body measurements will be intact. You will not have any shortage. You don't have any issues. So make sure that you add this point. Now what this does is that it has reduced the width of the one you're cutting out. So the one you're going to place on the lace. Okay. We're going to call it yoke. So that means that we're going to add this 1 inch back to the yoke, then also add 1/2 inch for seam allowance. Do you get? So this is my yoke. Okay, I've transferred it to the lace. So what I've done, you can see, so what I've done is the 1/2 inch I added to the other Ankara, I added it back, then I added another 1/2 inch for joining. So what I added altogether is 1 inch. Okay, even at the bottom, I also added 1 inch. Right, so I'm going to measure it out for you to see. You know, these are big chalk ads. These are school board chalk. Add some allowances to your fabric. So it's better you use a tailor stroke. So what I'm doing is to add 1 inch. Okay, so I'll measure and mark 1 inch all around. Remember, I added 1/2 inch seam allowance to the other side. So I'm replacing it back on the yoke. Then now adding 1/2 inch that I'll use to join the yoke to the main body of the dress. Okay, I hope that doesn't confuse you. I added 1/2 inch to the dress and it gave a shortage on the yoke. So I've replaced that 1/2 inch plus an additional 1/2 inch to join it together. That's 1 inch. So that's why I'm adding 1 inch all around. Okay, and even to the bottom of the yoke. You can see. So towards the side, I also added 1 inch. Okay, so I'm just going to trim out any excess I would have around that area because I want to stick to my accurate allowance. Okay, I don't want to have any issues or any excesses. Right, so now that I'm done, what I'm going to do is to cut out interlining for my lace. Okay, so I can now keep this aside or even trash it. Now this is the lace fabric. So you're going to cut your interlining or your satin, your bridal satin, your doll face, your mirror face, your taffeta, your shiny face, your any type of fabric that you want to use as interlining. So this is what it's going to look like when you are done attaching it. You can see, so this is what it's going to really look like. So go ahead and cut out your interlining. right? So afterwards, I'm going to measure the V shape on the main dress. So I measured one side, I have 17.75. I can approximate that to 18 inches. The other side, I've also measured it. I have 17.75 and I'll approximate it to 18 inches. So 18 plus 18 is 36. So I'm going to cut 36 times 3. Okay, whatever I get from there, that is the length of what I'm going to cut out for the ruffles at the upper parts. Now you can make use of a flounce. Okay, I have a tutorial on how to make a flounce. I'll drop the link to that tutorial in the description box and also in the comment section, so do well to check that out. But for this tutorial, I'm working with limited fabric and I do not want to have a flounce. I want to have ruffles. All right, so now that is what I'm doing. Like I said, after measuring the V shape on the blouse, I got 36 inches, okay, on the whole. So for you, you can now mark 36 times 3. Whatever you get is the length of your ruffles. Now the width or the wideness of the ruffles, I am marking out 4 inches, right? So I want 4 inches for the ruffles. I'm going to hem the bottom of the ruffles with 1/2 inch, then use 1/2 inch to overlock the upper part. All right, so I'll be left with 3 inches. Then after using 1/2 inch to join to the dress, I'll be left with 2.5. Okay, so that's why I'm using 4 inches. Now I'm cutting this out. I want to explain this again. The width of my ruffles is 4 inches. I'm going to fold in 1/4 of an inch in 2 places. Okay, for the lower part, I'll just fold it out. That will be 1/2 inch. So the remaining 1/2 inch, I'll use it to overlock or weave the upper parts. Then afterwards, I'll still use 1/2 inch to join it to the dress. Okay, so at the end of the day, I'll be left with 2.5 inches for my ruffles. Now I've placed my satin, okay, on top of the lace, and I went ahead to stitch it all around. Now I'll have a crease line on the satin, so I want to iron it so that it's going to be straight. I don't want to have any discrepancies by the time I'm joining. The V shape is already tricky for you to join, so I'm sprinkling water on it. So in case you see a bottle of water in the tailor shop, I beg you, please do not drink it. Most of the times it is water for ironing. Okay, so it's not clean water, but it's any pure water that I drink can remain, even if it's from the previous day. I'll just put it to the bottle and use it to iron. So I beg you, if you see bottle water in a tailor shop, please ask first before you drink. Most of the times it's water for ironing. I hope you don't fall victim to that. All right, so when I join, I'm going to first join the lace to the Ankara dress before using my lining to turn. Okay, so this is the lining. Remember to reduce the length of your lining. Okay, now for the back, like I said, I don't want to have zip allowance, so I want to have a loop at the back. So I came down by 6 inches, okay, from the back. Right, so you can do 6 inches, 7 inches, 5 inches, whatever you're comfortable with. The essence is to have it wide enough to pass through, for your head to pass through. All right, so whatever I've done to the main dress, I'll do the same thing to the line. Okay, just fold it into 2. You can now mark 6 or 7 inches depending on the length you want. Okay, from the neckline, just mark it and then cut it straight. Okay, you're not covering it in, just slash it open, like so. So that's what I did to the dress. Do the same thing to the lining. Now, like I said, I'm not going to turn the neckline with the lining until I am done attaching the lace to the front. All right, but for the back, there is no serere on the back, so I'll just place the lining on the Ankara fabric and turn the neckline like so. You can see the demonstration I'm showing. Just go and turn it like that. And when you're done with that one, you now go and do the front. So the front is where the wahala is. All right, so now for your the ruffles, remember I have 4 inches, so I'm just going to go ahead and fold small, 1/4 of an inch in 2 places. Okay, then go and stitch on it, then go and also weave the upper part, then join this together. Okay, I have 3 pieces, so I'll join the whole 3 pieces together. You can see, just go and join the whole 3 pieces, join it together. When you come back, I'll still show you what you do to those 3 pieces by at the end of the day. Now to the matter of them all, you can see I've joined the lace and the satin together. They have become one body family. We are one body family. So now I'm going to join. So the way to join this thing is tricky. So just join side by side. Okay, right side facing right side. Just go and hold it like this. sew a straight line fiam with half inch, okay? Then you now flip to the other side and sew on a straight line or the slanted line with half inch fiam, okay? If you try to sew it the way we sew the V on a basque waistlines, my sister, you might run into some problems because this V is V-ing, as in the V shape is V-ing. So I'm done joining, and after joining the lace to the dress, I now use my lining to turn the neckline, okay, so that everything is going to be smooth, silky, soft, and nice. So you can see I've turned the neckline. Now, the reason to turn with lining after attaching the lace is so that the inside of the dress is going to be very neat. You're not going to be seeing where you joined the lace from, okay? You're just going to be seeing the one that's in front. And when they turn to the inside, you'll not see what you have done. Do you get? So that it will not look as if we are doing something now. You know, we cannot be doing all these things for nothing. So now you can see I've also turned the neckline for the back, and you can see my opening where I'll fixing my button and my loop. Right, so I'm just going to place the front and the back together, right size facing right size. Then I'll go and join the shoulder seam. Okay, join the shoulder seam. Now I'm done hemming the bottom of the piece for the ruffles, okay? I've also weaved to overlock or serge the upper part. So you can see I'm trimming off the serging. Now what I now did was to fold it into two. You know, I have 3 pieces. I joined them all together. I folded it into 2, then cut at the midpoint. That way I'm going to have 2 pieces. I'll use one for one side and one for the other side. So you can see one piece I've gathered it, okay? I use my gathered foot to gather it, or you can use needle and thread to gather your own. So you can see the ruffles are separate, one for each side, right? So I'll now start joining. Right sides, okay? You're going to let the right side of the ruffle face the right side of the main dress. All right, so from the back, from the back, okay, from the shoulder line for the back, I'll go inwards by 2.5 inches. You can see from the back, then join it or gather it all through to the end of the V shape, okay? Then I also get the other part. I've also gathered it, then I'll now join all through like so. So I'll just go and do this and show you what I have done, okay? Right, so this is what it looks like. I'm done fixing the ruffles. You can see I also went ahead to turn the neckline with my lining. I fixed in my sleeves. Then another thing you should do is to top stitch after fixing the ruffles, okay? So you can see, just make sure that you top stitch. I've fixed in my sleeve, and I created a little opening at the sleeve. Then I also made a little bow at the hem of the sleeve. You can see, so this beautiful dress came out so well. This is the back. At the back, I've made my loops, and I've also fixed in my button. So that was just it. Once you fix the flounce, or sorry, the ruffles, go ahead and top stitch on it, then turn in the neckline and the sides with your lining, okay? Hem the bottom and fixing your sleeve. So any type of sleeve you want. So I'll go ahead and try this on so that we'll see what it looks like. Now this is it. I actually wish I put a pocket in this dress, but it's so beautiful. See, this camera is not doing justice. I'm just using something. I'm just placing my phone on something. There's no tripod, there's no lightning, nothing. So you can see the little bow I have at the lower part, and I opened it a little bit so that you can give injection from there. God forbid the mother give me injection in Jesus' name, amen. Now at the back, you can see my button loop. There's nobody to help me, button it up, so I just left it open. This is what it looks like. I actually love this dress. It's so beautiful. Like, it can work for any occasion. So I'll see you in my next tutorial. I love you. Bye. Mwah.